Okay, the life cycle of a star. Basic steps. So all stars start off as a nebula, and a nebula is made of dust, gas, and rock. Then gravity pulls the nebula together to form a protostar, and then the protostar turns into a main sequence. And with the main sequence, the forces acting on the star are balanced by forces that are pushing it away. So the forces pushing onto the star, there's forces equally balanced pulling away from it, so that way the star doesn't like implode on itself or explode on itself. Now, the fourth stage is the red giant. Now the red giant can be divided into two substages. It just depends on the size of the star. So if you have a medium-sized star like our sun, it just becomes a regular red giant, or you can just call it red giant. And then that collapses under its own gravity and becomes a white dwarf. And eventually it turns from a white dwarf into a black dwarf. And that's the last stage. That's for regular or smaller size stars. For larger size stars, they are known as a super red giant. And super red giants, they shrink and then they explode, and then they form, or the stage known as a supernova. And then the supernova turns into a neutron star, and if it is big enough, then it can turn into a black hole. If not, it just stays as a neutron star. So that's why I have the cross and the tick. If it is big enough, it turns into a black hole. If not, then it stays as a neutron star. So really, same stages. The only part where it becomes different is at the red giant, depending on the size of the star, whether it's large or small. So this is the pathway if it's a large size star, and this is the stages if it is a regular or smaller size star. So nebula first, protostar second, then main sequence, and then red giant. And you have just a regular red giant or super red giant, and then different pathways with that. The only way you can really remember it is simple memorization, but if you look at the boxes, then that should be easy to help you up until red giant. And then for the regular and small size and the larger size, that's one that you need to try and figure out or find a way to help you remember it much better. And that's the life cycle of a star.